Hello, my name is Brittany. I'm a Bind member. I go to the Bind Fort Worth Clubhouse, and I have a traumatic brain injury from a car accident.
And hi, I'm Carrie, stroke survivor and a member of Bind as well. I'm at the Plano location, but here we are all together. So, and today we want to welcome Veronica Corrin. She's an occupational therapist with Rehab Without Walls. She leads a virtual support group online for current and former patients called Brain Injury Virtual Connect. And they have sometimes they have special in-person get-togethers. I was stalking her on their website, so it's great. She includes us. She has lots of. So we're just going to kind of talk about all that today and get to know Veronica.
Welcome to Bindwaves, the official podcast of the Brain Injury Network of Dallas. I'm Brian White, Bind's Executive Director. On each episode, we'll be providing insight into the brain injury community. We'll be talking to members and professionals regarding their stories and the important role of Bind's Clubhouse. We work as a team to inspire hope, community, and a sense of purpose to survivors, caregivers, and the public. Thank you for tuning into Bindwaves. Let's get on with the show.
So let's start off if we have any new listeners that maybe haven't heard about Rehab Without Walls. Can you just explain kind of what Rehab Without Walls is?
Yes, thank you all for having me. First of all, I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I'm very inspired by what you all are doing with the podcast. And I just have to say congratulations on your 100th episode and all the positive goals y'all have met. I love Bind. I love your podcast, Bind Waves. Thank you all for having me. So, Rehab Without Walls. We are home neuro rehab. So let me think about what the exact definition is. Home and community neuro-based rehab. That's it in a nugget. But we use transdisciplinary team approach. So when a person enters our rehab services, they have the benefit of having all the therapists, speech, OT, PT, as well as neuropsychology, social work, recreation therapy, music therapy. It's a beautiful team and a great place to get to work and go through rehab.
So, how did you hear about Bind?
I first heard about Bind through one of our community relations managers named Sarah Walker. She was in network with you guys in 2020 during COVID, and she actually inspired me to get started with the virtual connecting that we do on BIVC group. And she said, "Have you heard about Bind?" I said, "No, you should check them out." I looked at your website. I was blown away. I was like, I need to know more. And just started learning names and emailing people. And Jasmine and Christy, and at the time, Alex Barna were so welcoming. And we just kept communicating by email. And then now we all know each other in person, which is so cool.
It's great. And well, we kind of have repetitive questions.
That's all good.
You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to back at this a little bit and ask another question. So you explain what Rehab Without Walls is, and I'm just going to say it a little differently. It's like we talk about day neuro, but we're all in one little same building. Y'all do all the same stuff that would happen there. You're just going out to their house or their community.
Yes.
So bringing them here.
We start in the home, and the goal is to get out into the community. And so there's so many places to go, places to do quality rehab therapy in a really engaging way, not just in the walls of your home. Well, first of all, you get the beautiful benefit of having us in the home to know your exact living quarters, to understand your environmental needs, your family needs, all the dynamics going on at home. And we walk through what life looks like while going through rehab, and also thinking about how it would look when rehab leaves. Once we're in the home, we think about where are we going to go have fun out in the community, and who are we going to meet and see, who are we going to connect with. So going to the grocery store can be super therapeutic. Going to people go all kinds of amazing places, paddle boarding, to the movie theater, to the rodeo, to I'm trying to think, like art studios, like anywhere that's meaningful to the client is where we want to go and get back to. I'm thinking also like the gym, their workplace. So we actually try to get back to all the places that are meaningful and also try out new spaces, which is the best thing because life might look a little different. You've got to try things out with a therapist and see what you can get involved in. And then one of my favorite things to do is connect with other community relations friends like Bind and get our patients into the house of Bind, to the walls of Bind, meet all the people, go through like your hand holding while you're meeting everybody. You're under the guidance of a therapist, but you're having fun meeting people and doing quality rehab while a therapist is with you, guiding you through it.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, how do you inform survivors after therapy of a support group?
Oh, well, our Rehab Without Walls therapy teams do an amazing job of that. And so when it's recognized that a client will benefit from social engagement, getting back to connecting with people, they want to meet people, they want to know others who have a brain injury, we bring it up as a therapy team, and the therapists and our whole Texas team, really, Rehab Without Walls does a great job of saying, oh, you want to connect with people? Let's start virtually, because that's probably a great way to just make it happen. Transportation is a huge barrier for people to connect. And so they say, here's BIVC group on Wednesdays and coffee chat group on Fridays. And sometimes therapists get to sit in with the patients, logging on to the meetings for the first time, and they're working on therapy goals in those meetings. So they kind of point to me and Samantha, our co-leader for this group. Samantha Atwood, she's an amazing music therapist and just co-pilot. We're co-pilots every week in group. And Jamie Eaton, who's the Friday coffee chat leader, speech therapist, they point to us and then we receive everybody. And organically, I like to tell people about our group when it comes up, when I get to meet somebody and they seem like they might be a great fit, just looking to know somebody with a brain injury. They want to meet peers. They want to get involved. They want to not feel so isolated. I just say, hey, we have a support group where we have a activity-based support group on Wednesdays and Fridays. Come hang out with us. Here are the flyers. Come join when you can. So it happens therapeutically in our team approach, and it happens organically when I think all of us are just out in the community doing our thing as therapists in the working world and meeting people. So that's how we talk about it.
That's awesome. And you mentioned something else that I didn't even think about that we should cover, but y'all are Texas based. It's not, I mean, like, I know you're in Houston, and I know several of the therapists that work at the one in Irving here, but your support groups cover all of Texas. So these people are all, we're meeting people from Houston, from where else are y'all? Lubbock or?
Okay, so in Texas, there's Irving, Dallas, El Paso, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. And that's just Texas. Rehab Without Walls serves nationally. So there's lots of other states that have Rehab Without Walls, but our virtual groups support all of those locations. So everybody knows about us and we can log on from across the state on any given Wednesday and talk about the weather. How's it going out there in Plano today from Houston and Austin, San Antonio? It's the best.
And then, what are common topics that you cover in support groups?
Oh, I like to think of us as like a variety show of topics. Like we want to bring something for everybody's interest, and we challenge ourselves to keep the topics that are meaningful coming back, but also take on new topics that the members want to see. So our most loved topics are the ones where I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, where our roundtable is actually a popular one, where members, every first Wednesday meeting is members get to ask the questions to the group for each other or pose a thought, and then everybody around the table, around our virtual Zoom table, gets to chime in and give their response. That's a really fun way to just learn what is meaningful to them and hear what the important things we need to talk about are for that given Wednesday. Some other popular ones are just honestly playing games, like Family Feud has been a popular one. That's coming back in December, holiday edition of Family Feud. People love that. So we do like celebrations for any holiday. You know, if it's Halloween time, come in your costume. We're going to have a costume contest virtually. If it's Thanksgiving time, we're going to talk about gratitude. We try to honor the themes of the season as well. Some other things. Oh, we also do a good one that's called What's Your Story? And I love this one. It used to be that we would have a meeting hour where everybody would say how they acquired their brain injury, what was their story, how did they end up finding our group, and then it got really long-winded, and we wanted to focus on 2 members at a time. So now we highlight 2 volunteers every couple months, and they get to go in depth of what their story is, what their therapy journey has been like, where they are now, and then we get to ask them questions. And it's so beautiful to know people's story, and everyone is so important to hear. And then we know more about that person, and the story sharing is just so powerful and relationship building. So that's one of my favorites. I'm getting long-winded with each of these answers. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah. No,
Okay.
I love it.
Okay, good.
Because we want to get more people involved. So.
Yay. Okay, good. And then, like, I just have to tell you, I was really excited about this month's November topics that were created by our group members, which I love. Like, people are starting to feel they're taking ownership in our group, and we say, hey, you're a leader. Like, you keep showing up, you're a core member. Give us your ideas for meeting topics. And so this month we had somebody came up, Rolando from Austin came up with creative gift ideas on a budget. Oh, y'all were at that meeting, actually. We just talked about our shopping goals for Christmas and staying on budget while we do that. We share links and ideas, and so much productive activity, and the goal at each meeting is just cool idea, sharing our experiences, ideas, and feeling that value and purpose each week. Yesterday's meeting was about how to survive and thrive during the holidays, right? How holiday gatherings can look and feel different post brain injury. And for the first timers, they got good benefit of hearing from our veteran group members tips and strategies to know what mindset to go in with, how you can prepare, what has helped them over the years. And this was another topic created by our group members. I think Beth out in Austin came up with this one, and it was a hit. We had good talking and good connecting yesterday with that topic. So long-winded answer, but we just try to bring the variety and focus on the connecting, and the goal is really to have every person talk as much as they can at every meeting. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to take a quick little break and just remind our listeners to go ahead and click that like button wherever you're listening. Click that like button, click that notify button. So it'll pop up for every time we post an episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe. So, okay. And now back to the show. So Veronica, I have a question for you. And I would say you and the other therapists, but obviously I don't know that you can answer for them, but maybe you can. But what benefits do you receive out of these support groups?
Oh my gosh. Where do I begin? Where do I start? It's a highlight of my week, and it's a joy in my life. Like I love being a therapist, but I was praying for something really special to come along. And this is kind of a newer thing, virtually connecting during COVID. And now we're seeing the value of the virtual groups beyond COVID. Like, this was always needed. It was not just COVID needed. We all need to keep connecting, whether or not you're in the rehab life and have gone through something medically. We all need a village. We all need a place to connect and have friendships and have people say, hey, I missed you last week, or where were you? Not just to feel like you're not alone, but to have people that are looking forward to seeing you every week and miss you when you're gone. That is the beauty of life. That is best living and quality of life. So it means so much to me. Truly, I learn also every week. I learn from our group members something every week that I'm reminded of, or I didn't know. So I'm just in constant learning mode, and to know people in this realm of the rehab process, or the what do you call it, the scope of therapy, acute and inpatient and rehab without walls, to know them at this part of the progression a year to 2 years after discharge is a really cool perspective to keep in mind, and then remind people of that are in the beginning phases of therapy life, either therapists themselves or other participants. Like, this is what it could look like down the road. This is what's going on. We have Samantha and Jamie and I get a really valuable lens to see how people are doing years out. So from personal, like, knowledge fulfillment, professional fulfillment, it's I'm grateful for it. I'm not putting a very good wrapping language around it, but I am very grateful for this gig that I get to do. It means a lot to me.
With the smart grids, do you see similar benefits from online versus in person?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think I do. I really do. I think virtual connecting is a powerful bridge to make in-person connecting so much easier, because it's not so scary after you've seen the same people over and over again virtually. You know something about them, you've laughed with them, the therapist on screen has made you do a silly icebreaker, and you remember a funny note about them, like, and then it just becomes an inside joke or a laugh thing. And then when you see them in person, it's not so scary to just go up to Carrie and be like, hey, how are you? Like, you feel like you know them already. So the magic is, like, when we get to finally be together in person, it is like, it's the best. It's heartfelt. It's wonderful. So I think it's a very helppful bridge. I think it does hold up against in-person connecting, but there's really nothing like in-person connecting, like giving that hug, right? And seeing, being in person is always the end goal, but I think it's very helpful to make it happen.
Oh, totally agree with that. So, kind of a different question. I mean, we know it's important for the brain injured survivors to stay connected and keep that involvement, to stay with someone that you know, and kind of that benefit of like minded people. But what do you think is the importance of actually being able, like you said, there are therapists involved in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see an importance of the brain injured survivors still being able to connect with those therapists?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I see it.
Yes, I love it. I love that so much. Like, it's so it's a lovely thing when a former patient sees a former therapist they had on screen, and they're just able to have that moment of saying, hi, how's it going, whatever. And the therapist gets the benefit of seeing the person that once was their patient in life after therapy, how they're doing with these goals. They seem like they're doing great because they're obviously connecting and staying supportive. So that's a great just reunion moment there alone. But also, I am so proud of Rehab Without Walls' decision to make these virtual groups happen, because people that are years post therapy are still getting the benefit of connecting with a therapist that's active in providing therapy services. So we don't like to push too heavily on the therapeutic advice or therapy lens or knowledge that we have, but it's sprinkled into every meeting, right? And just to have a therapist around to remind of those goals that were once their therapy goals, and remind the person of anything from general health and wellness to something specific to the OT, speech, PT lens. We are all staying connected, and we get reminded of all those goodies we take away from therapy while being on this group. So I think it's like reciprocated value and benefit there.
You said you talked about helping clients get back into the community. So, what are some of the struggles that you've seen in clients after therapy and trying to re-enter the community? And do you think the support groups help with that?
Yes. We talk about barriers in our group. The common barrier of every situation is transportation. How do I get there? Who's going to drive me? Can I drive? Can I afford an Uber? I mean, one of the cool goals that we have in Rehab Without Walls is we teach and practice getting on an Uber or using public transportation, which is great. But what happens if you need a little assistance with that? So people, so care partners might be working, and not from home. So if you need support getting somewhere transportation wise, or just using a form of transportation like Uber, that's still the biggest barrier that people work through. And so when they can't get somewhere in person, guess where they can get to? They can on their Zoom screen and be welcomed by 20 other people that know their name and are, what is that song? Where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. What was that show? Cheers?
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's what it is. And I think it helps. Like our group members say, Wednesday is the highlight of my week. And Friday, I get really down at 10 o'clock when coffee chat group has ended, because BIVC is Wednesday, Friday's coffee chat group. And I get a little bummed out knowing that I'm not going to see everybody until next Wednesday. And guess what happened in the last month? I'm really proud of our group members and participants. Our group members, they took it upon themselves to form their own group on Saturdays, a Zoom group called Peer Party Chat. They were like, we need more hangout time. Let's make this happen. They started connecting, sharing emails. And they're doing it. They're meeting on Saturdays now. One more day a week where they could just say hi, check in, connect, and give a virtual high five and keep going with their week with the things life brings to us. We need check-ins and a positive, upbeat person to say, keep going. Or we all play different roles at different times, right? Sometimes people are up and down, and we uplift each other when we need it, and when one is up, one is down, and we keep going. So what was the original question? Do virtual groups help with that, or the barriers to community? Yeah, transportation. But I think that's really it. And I also think there is somewhat of a lack of structured welcome for people that need structured welcome. Hence, the good work Bind is doing is needed so much in the community, because we have community places that are adaptive focused or post-rehab focused. Like in Houston, we have the West Gray, quote unquote, community and facility, but it's not always the structured 9 to 3, here's how your day is going to look, which a lot of people benefit from and need. So it's like we need more people out in the community to create things and receive the people and say, hey, we're here. And I think that's gearing up, and that's getting started, or that's been getting started, and we're moving through it and seeing some benefit in the community. But also, I think the virtual part of it just keeps pointing to the things people need to know about, because unless you're really connected and savvy on social media, you might not know about Bind, or you might not know about a place where you can go in person. So I think as long as, keeping the conversation up virtually is helpful to getting people in the community.
Okay, Veronica, we're just going to ask a couple more questions because we're starting to run out of time. So I'm
Okay.
going to ask one and then let Brittany ask one. So you mentioned care partners and care lovers a minute ago. So do you feel that the caregivers see the benefits that their survivors are getting out of these support groups?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get emails from a few care partners every week telling me when they're not going to be on this week. We miss y'all. We'll see you next week. Just that alone, it's like a point of connection, a point of somebody saying like, "Hey, I'm going to miss you guys," or check in on you. Like it can be an isolating thing to be a care partner, right? To be the main point of contact responsible for making sure someone is safe and taking care of themselves and medically okay. So I think absolutely, even though they might be in the background, they're benefiting from the social support and the fun we have and the meaningful conversations we have in the group as well. Yes.
So, how can others get involved?
Well, we so they can always email me.
Yeah.
They can email me and we will try to link them into our meetings. Absolutely. And we primarily serve our Rehab Without Walls patients because it's a patient driven group where we want to make space and hold space for those goals that they're working on and make sure people are logging on with their therapists. And it starts out that way. But I always like what do you call it? Individual referrals. So if you know somebody that just really needs support group, point them my way. They're probably going to be a great fit because a lot of people start off on our group. Schedule conflicts can happen. Maybe they found another in-person group that's more meaningful for their time. People can come and go. We have our core members that have been with us for 4 years now. We're 4 years into our BIVC group, and that's beautiful. But you can come and go too. You may not always need us, but we're here when you do. Just like Bind, right? Leave the doors
Yeah.
open. Leave the doors open.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Veronica, for joining us today. And also, thank you for listening, for all the listeners out there.
And we will put some information for Rehab Without Walls in the description. But again, if you would like to contact us, bindwaves at thebind.org. And then you can follow us on Instagram. It's always hard to say this one. Follow us on Instagram at bindwaves. And then visit our website, thebind.org/bindwaves.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platforms. And on YouTube, don't forget to hit the notify button.
And we will air on Thursday, so watch for our Instagram posts. And thank you all for listening. Until next time.
Woo.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to Bind Waves and continue to support Bind and our nonprofit mission.
We support brain injury survivors as they reconnect into the life, the community, and their workplace.
And we couldn't do that without great listeners like you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Continue watching. Until next time.
Until next time.